Hello fellow rock tumblers. In this video I'm going to review the Raytech Tumble-Vibe TV10. I normally use the Thumler's Ultra-Vibe 18, but I wanted a smaller 10-pound bowl, and Thumler's has been out for months, so I went with this one. Finally got around to running a small batch of rocks through my 8-day 4-step polishing process. And I thought I would share with you some of my observations. Number one, it's much noisier. Number two, it's much messier. Even with the lid on, it creates quite the mess. Number three, the vibration action is harsher, so the rock movement is not nearly as smooth as the Thumler's. And number four, it dried out on me at least one time when I was running it overnight. The next morning, the thing was just caked up, and lots of solid bits of the grit were stuck in the rocks, so I'll have to redo those rocks. We'll know here shortly how good a job it does polishing. This stage right now is almost done. I'm going to do the washout, dry these rocks off, and I will show you how they all turned out. So I'm kind of excited to see if it's going to be as good as the Thumler's. We'll know here shortly. Just to give you an idea of what I mean when I say it's messier, I have the bowl on, I have it on tightly, yet when I lift it up, this is what I find waiting for me. It's easy to clean up, but I'd rather not have to do it. The Thumler's Ultra-Vibe 18 never had that problem. So we'll see how the rocks turned out. If they turned out nice and shiny, then no big deal. Well, here are the rocks. I have them sorted somewhat. I have Jaspers, agates, petrified woods, and then some miscellaneous rocks. Most of them took a decent shine. A couple of them took no shine at all, but I blame the rocks more than the tumbler for that. I think that the Thumler's Ultra-Vibe 18 does a slightly better job, but these aren't bad. So let's take a closer look at just some of the nicer ones. See what you think. Here's a little piece of Jasper. You can see a good shine, but I worry when I see little flaws like that, because I thought before I started these in that tumbler I had these perfect, so I see a little fracture like that and I think maybe that's due to that rougher vibratory action. Maybe not, maybe I just missed that. Here's a nice looking piece of Jasper without any significant issues. I think the shine looks pretty good. I used my normal 8-day 4-step process. You can see that in some of my earlier videos. I like this little piece of Jasper. You see those little gray areas? That is the result of, I believe it was when I was running the 600 grit overnight. I did not have enough water in it, in the tumbler. And in the morning, the thing was completely dry and still running, but just cakey and dry, and that stuff will not come out. So this is an example of a rock that I'll probably need to put back in the course just to grind that out. That happened twice with this Raytech. It never happened with the Thumler's. Now, that's probably my fault for not knowing how much water to put in it, how wet to make the stones and the ceramic, but again, that's the result. And I'll show you a more dramatic version here in just a little bit. Otherwise, it's just a beautiful, beautiful little rock. This rock's a better example of what I'm referring to with the grit getting stuck in when the whole thing dried out overnight. You can see how these basically got baked in. Now mind you, my garage is really hot because it's summer, it's Texas, and it's not air conditioned. So a combination of it just being hot and dry while running, that slurry just completely solidified in there. So this is another rock that I would need to retumble in the coarse grit to grind those out. It's unfortunate, that is a good looking rock otherwise. So this is an example of one of these rocks that just did not take a polish. I remember buying this particular stone from Nature's Treasures in Austin, and I'm pretty sure it was some type of Jasper. I forget the name, but it was some type of Jasper. It just does not shine. So, it was just taking the same steps as all of the other rocks around it that did shine. There's just something different about this mineral, this hardness. It's unfortunate. I have made these into cabochons, which on my cabbing machine I can get a much better shine. But in the vibratory tumbler, boy, it just will not shine. Crazy. This stone took more of a satiny type of shine, not that high gloss that I like. Not bad, but I prefer the mirror-like finish. Here's just a good-looking piece of jasper. So this is a piece of petrified wood, which took a pretty good shine. Petrified wood normally does. I can get a nice, look, there's a nice, look at the reflection. Actually, this isn't bad. Maybe I was a little too quick to say that the Thumblers does a better job. That's a really good shine right there. Yeah. I like that. I probably just need to practice more with this Raytech. Yeah, that was really good. Anyway, this wood looks good. Here's another piece of petrified wood. This one I did not tumble perfectly in the coarse stages, but that's all right. It's wood. I wanted to have some of these imperfections still in it. It was getting thin. Good shine, good reflection there. Here's some tiger's eye from the miscellaneous section. This one I'm not happy because I never got this as smooth as I should have in the coarse stage. I should have kept grinding this off right here. The chatoyancy looks good within the tiger eye itself. You see how it's not perfectly flat right there? You've got some grooves in there. That may be a result of this Raytech being so rough when it's shaking these things, when it's vibrating. See a little bit over here as well. I don't think that the Thumblers did that. This is a rock that I'll probably start over again and put it back in a coarse grit just to get rid of this rough area up here. And maybe I'll put it in the Thumblers and see if, when it's finished, if all this stuff is still here or if it goes away. Another miscellaneous rock here. I forget what this is. You can see the little bits of that gray slurry that got baked in during that dreaded dry overnight run from a few days ago. Yeah, I have to be more careful. Keep an eye on that. It's an interesting looking rock. Not a perfect tumble, but an interesting looking rock nonetheless. Now this rock's kind of interesting. It's not as smooth as I'd hoped, but it does have some sort of chatoyancy. Look at that right there. Not sure exactly what this one is. But it's interesting. There's a little piece of stromatolite. I do like the detail on this stone. Not sure what this one is. Sort of agate, sort of jaspery as well. Let's just call it a jasp agate for now. Took a pretty good shine. This one is sort of quartzy. Has some other stuff in there. Could not get rid of that right there, unfortunately. Look at that. Yeesh. I don't like this high resolution close-up viewing. I start to see all my flaws in these rocks. I need to zoom way out. Now this is the rock that suffered the most from the overnight dry run. You can see that the slurry just got baked into these crevices. This particular piece had lots of those to start with, so it was doomed. And I tried really hard the next day. Once I saw the problem, I got the rocks out and I scrubbed and scrubbed and scrubbed, and I could not get that stuff to come out. So this rock is doomed. Too bad too. It was an interesting looking agate. See lots of stuff in there. Here's another little agate that's doomed as well, unfortunately. And you see how that just baked in. This one had some deep, rich colors in it, some banding. Oh wow. Lesson learned. Okay, let's start looking at the good stuff, some of these agates. This is obviously just a piece of Brazilian agate. Polish looks really good on this one. Yeah, I think I was a little too harsh on the Raytech. I think that has an awesome shine on it. What do you think? Use the little mirror test there. Here's another little agate. I recently showed a similar one in an earlier video. I do like how these have the outlines of, I guess that's, I don't know what it is, but you see how it forms that outline? I think that's really cool. It's a beautiful shade of blue. Now this is a piece of that Brazilian agate that I just could not grind out smoothly. You see, it just wouldn't get smooth around some of these edges here. And I didn't want to lose this little, let's call it a nipple right here. I like that, so I had to put up with this, I don't know, quartzy area that just would not get smooth. And the same thing on this side as well. Otherwise though, it's an interesting looking rock. Looks like a really good polish on it. This is the end cut off some agate. The reason I know that is because when I turn it over, I can see this. Yeah, that is a darn good shine right there. There's that reflection. I may have to put up with all the noise this damn tumbler makes in the mess and keep an eye on that water level. I would have had the Thumblers, but Thumblers has not restocked their 10-inch for months. I'm on the waiting list, and I don't know what's going on there. I guess supply chain issues, COVID, all that fun stuff. It's not quite over yet, is it? This is a self-collected agate. I remember the day I found this one. It was much bigger, and I've broken it up. Run into the same issue here, though. I could not smooth this stuff out, and I think some of that overnight dryness caked in a few nights ago. It just won't clean out. It's got lots of fortification banding in it. This is another self-collected agate. This is the type of agate we can find around here in Central Texas, and they're very common. They're not so exciting. Some of them turn out beautiful, though. This looks like the end cut off of some little slab I was working with. Lots of mossiness in there. Of course, some of it just doesn't shine, but can't do anything about that. Now we're getting to some of the really interesting ones that I like the most. These are probably Botswana agates, or maybe, I'm not sure. I've been tumbling lots of different purchased agates over the last couple of months, and they just all sort of blend together. This one has some great detail. The polish looks really good on it. This one's so dark it's hard to see, but it is a very dark, sort of a bluish red agate. I wish I could show you the detail in there, but I cannot get the lighting just right to show it. Somehow I'm not managing to get prints on this thing, even though I'm wearing these gloves. Am I sweating through my gloves? I don't know. Oop, there's a little bit of that dreaded night, the dreaded overnight dry out night damage. I believe this one is blue lace agate. Just a small piece of blue lace agate. Left in some of that, well, let's just call it the skin that's on the top and bottom. Getting close to the finish. Look at this one. A very nice polish. Oh, look at that one little issue there. Doggone it. A couple of bands. That's about it. Good polish though. This one's nice looking. I knew about that. I did not try to grind that out. At some point, you got to stop. The stone just gets smaller and smaller. And this I don't mind so much because it's not a spall. That's just a part of the rock. If it were a spall, you know what I'm talking about. That you've seen spalls. I would try to grind it out. But I think I was worried if I kept grinding it out, I would lose some of this stuff, and I didn't want to take a chance. Just 2 more to go. This one turned out really nice. Hardly any flaws at all. Some beautiful design within this, the banding. Very attractive agate. I like this one. Great shine. So save the best for last. All this white is not, I repeat, is not part of the overnight sludge massacre. No, this is just in the stone, this white you see here. This one I kept clean. This almost looks like a sort of a weather map showing the cloud formation coming in off the ocean or something. A little banding there. And these little tiny tubes. I just love those little tubes. Yeah, this one's pretty special here. It's in really good shape. Great shine. It's probably my favorite of this whole group. Thank you so much for watching my video. I appreciate it. This is my favorite part at the end when I can run my fingers through these. Now that I'm done with all the close-ups, I don't mind getting fingerprints on them. Anyway, be sure and check out my other videos. I have lots more like this. Thanks again.